All right, so welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
This here is Conversations with the Crawleys. We do conversations about faith, family, and relationships. And we do recaps, reviews, and commentaries on some of our favorite shows. This one is all about the latest episode of Ready to Love, Dallas. So this is content that you enjoy. You already know what to do. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, request notifications,
and share.
We'll see you in the comments. Consider becoming a member and checking out the merch store. All right. So Unique got sent home last week because Marvin threw her under the bus. Let's just be honest. That's what happened. But the ladies this time come into the lounge and Tommy's like, so the brothers doing what they need to do. They're working well. And the ladies like, nah, some of these brothers have not been putting in work. It's like a couple of them are, a few of them are just kind of floating and they're advancing.
Right.
So Tommy's like, okay, your assignment this week is find out about your doubts, communicate your doubts, see if they alleviate your doubts, see if you even more doubtful after talking to them, figure out the doubts. So as they're going out, first date is Philip and Aries. And her doubt is with him and with any of the guys really is her kids. Because she's got two boys. She's been married, we find out, twice, which gives me some doubt.
Yeah, because just like we talked about the first guy that was eliminated?
Yeah.
He indicated that he was married twice.
To the same person.
To the same person, and it was kind of soon after. But if we're going to put that pressure on him, if we want to say pressure, be the same thing with her.
Yep.
What questions have Phil asked her concerning about what happened? Because I do remember her last divorce. He wanted to stay married, but she didn't want to stay married.
Yeah.
So wondering how far he was able to dig into that. Obviously, they have conversations that are private,
right?
Not privy to us.
But that would be a question mark for me. I'm not going to say red flag, right? But it is a question because I would need to know kind of what was the first marriage, what went wrong there, what happened with the second one, and the second one, he's willing to say, I think we can work this out. Let's continue on. And she's like, no, she's done. So what was it that made you done? Because that might give me some clue as to if we get together, what's going to make you done with me? Right.
What's your boundary? Or saying that I'm willing to consider divorce instead of working for
Or is it that you're not willing to put in the work? That's the other question, right? Yeah. We don't know. These are speculative thoughts, but definitely thoughts that would give me pause. So he says he's doing this to find a wife. He's like, I'm not just doing this just to, become on TV famous. Get my Instagram numbers up. And so she does think that he's capable.
And they got a good vibe. It seemed like they got going on. So
because they're both kind of laid back, right?
True.
She's not overly like out there, just life of the party. Neither is he. Right. They do kiss, but she also, in her little producer interview, says that she does have a strong connection with Chris as well. So, speaking of Chris, because there's two Chris's. I'm sorry. So I think hers is with developer Chris, who hides his mother's picture behind the couch. We'll talk about that in a moment.
In this photo, boy.
I'm sorry. But Sierra and Chris, Cowboy Chris, who joined the party late. Okay. Christopher, yes. So they're talking and, he says he has no insecurities.
She's like, not one? Not even one?
Not one.
Not even
a little one.
Right. He's like, no, I'm confident. Oh, okay.
She's like, okay. So you gonna buy me Birkin bag? Whoa, where'd that come from?
Hold on.
Wait.
You don't know me that well. You don't know my social security number. And you want a Birkin bag?
And he said later on, you came in an Uber. You talking about me getting you a Birkin bag.
I was like, to her defense, if she was drinking, she should be responsible and be using either a Lyft or Uber.
I'll give you that, right? So he's talking and he said he started school to be a doctor.
A chiropractor.
Well, later on, the ladies were like he was trying to be a chiropractor. But yeah, he said a doctor. That's what he said. So yeah, that whole Birkin bag conversation was
She said she was being playful.
Right.
So, he took her pretty serious. And she's like, even during that dinner, she's like, and he was like, what? You want to? And she was like, no, I could buy my own bag if I wanted to buy my own bag. Because I think he was talking about when you get to know someone, he's really into the details, right. When it comes to women, what they're saying that they like.
Right.
So that's how she came up with the Birkin bag.
We went from 0 to 60,000 in a moment.
Okay. And he had, that was a trigger for him.
Yes.
And I think that men don't, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not.
I'll tell you.
They don't want to feel like they're being used.
Exactly.
That, to get something out of you, I got to be giving you all these gifts when we only known each other for a certain period of time. Right. And they're very high value items that now all of a sudden I have to be able to go out with you,
Yeah, I mean, because we've seen this before. I think it was last season where one of the young ladies was like, you buy this, you got to buy that for me, da da da. And so it's not the right place to throw that out in conversation, right?
I don't think so.
That's something that as you are getting to know each other more, you can talk about that. These are the things you like. These are the things. But if you are on our first date talking about you're gonna give me a Birkin bag.
Yeah.
Even if you're playing and then like, no, I'll get it myself. To me, that's just a little too far too soon.
And I don't want to put myself in a position if someone's giving me stuff that they expect something from me. And so, I've never been that type of person. If we said we were going to be in a serious relationship together, it wasn't then like, okay, well, these are all the things I want.
Right.
Now, did you buy me stuff? And I felt like it was appropriate because it was my birthday, or it was a special event, and so those things I appreciated. And I didn't feel like there was something I had to provide something in return.
But if you did, I'd be okay with that too.
I bet you would.
All right. So then Jessica meets up with Chris at one of his developments because he's a developer. And so she's like, she's got a connection with him, but she's also like, she got a good connection with Marie. Now he calls her an authoritarian figure.
I think maybe he was using the wrong word. She has a strong personality. Maybe he wanted to say that because you don't want to say anything that would put her in a bad light,
right,
per se. So she can come off seeming very strong personality. And so, as they're talking, he was like, well, for me, when I come home, I'm looking for someone to give me a softer tone.
So, yeah, because he said, I like a strong woman, right? But you ain't got to be that strong with me. Basically is what he was saying at the end. But he did say he likes a strong woman. So I get that. I think he needs to clarify. And again, we're watching pieces and portions of an entire conversation.
Yeah.
So what I take him to be getting at is he likes a woman that is not hopeless, a woman that knows what she wants. Assertive. There you go. That's the word. He wants someone that is that way, but also knows how to be soft with him. Right? So I can see that. So she calls him out for being inconsistent. He's like, well, you ain't consistent yourself. You don't be calling too. like you say, like you want me to call you.
Right. Because he called her a boss lady, so if you are a boss, I want you to show the same thing you're asking from me.
Yes.
I want to get it from you. So I think they agreed to compromise and really work on contacting each other, because at the improv, he was kind of saying, okay, where my doubt is it that you are very assertive, and you're a strong personality.
Yes.
So I guess we'll see how that goes.
Now, they do have this conversation in one of the homes in his development that is in the process of being built.
Yes, because he was at work. And so he found a house that was finished, completed, and that's why they were in there. Where are you going to go? Into a truck, into the car?
No, I mean, that's fine. But that gives me.
What does that give you?
That gives me the impression, because again, I take an issue with last week when he pulled that picture of his mother, his beloved picture of his mother, from behind the couch. My thought now is, watching them go into this model home, or this home that's being developed, is that he might have been in one of them spec homes. Oh, he might have been in the model home that they take you in, that's all furnished and laid out, and then
cooking
get you
in a modern home. So
listen, the gas got to be turned on at some point.
Wow, the gas got to be turned on at some point. I think you're just making a little bit too much out of this. Now, y'all agreed with me, though. Some of y'all in the comments was like, yeah, that picture from behind the couch was a little too much. Or it could be the other way. Maybe because of, him not wanting a traditional African marriage. Maybe he's not as closest to his mother as he could be. And that's why the painting ain't put up, because...
No, but you bring it up like, this is my mother, and you have tears, like real tears in your eyes. Stop trying to defend that man. No.
I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just saying, I don't want to speculate on things we do not know, and you can't put the two together. Now, if they were on a date and he's like, I want to show you the development and let's come and eat in this house. Okay. But he was at work.
I'll give you that. Okay. Well, the producers were like, look, we probably was like, well, can you meet? Well, the way my house is set up right now.
The way my house is set up. I got one being built.
That spec home ain't ready yet. That spec home's being shown this weekend. So have her meet me at my job, and I can take her into one of the other buildings. Marvin and Kat go on a date. Mm-hmm. And her doubt, of course, is, can he be monogamous?
Mm-hmm. Right? And this is a different woman.
A recurring theme with Marvin.
So that means he, at some point, had to be mentioning that he's in multiple relationships for a different person to bring this up, yes. Right?
So but now here's the thing. He says that Kat is his strongest connection. But hold up, player. Because Unique, who you threw under the bus last week, was a strong connection for you to the point that y'all kiss, right? So do you really have strong connections, or do you have strong advocates to vote for you? Is that what you're...
Or strong moments.
Right. Strong moments. That's a good thing.
I don't know. I just, like, all the women are asking the questions. Mm-hmm. Are you willing to change your lifestyle? Because every time, and from what we see on TV, every time he talks to someone else, he's just like, well, I'm single and I say that. Okay, so when you're single, you make a decision like, these are my deal breakers.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you're in a relationship, they're no longer your deal breakers. Mm-hmm. You stay consistent. If you want to have multiple women in different houses on Hawaii Beach, then just say that's what you want. But I think, as you indicated, he put himself in a situation where he's just not finding his right community.
Right.
Is the problem.
Because he even makes a statement. He says he can function in a monogamous relationship because that's what he saw growing up.
But he hasn't been living that way. So I'm like, if you really say you have a change of mind, mm-hmm. and saying, you know what, I tried, polygamy, right? And you had several girlfriends or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now you're like, you know what? Being monogamous may work better for me.
Right.
Then that means you're saying things in past tense.
Correct.
And these women ain't taking like anything's been in past tense.
Because his present tense seems like it's still...
very present.
Yes, it's still a very present tense for him. Kira invites Herbert over to her house. Mm-hmm. And he brings a dog toy because she got a little dog. Mm-hmm. But nobody could get that dog toy out the wrapper.
I was like, y'all couldn't take materials. 2 seconds and cut the thing. Were they going to return it? Like, what are you doing?
So little Fifi is trying to pick at it, but Kate, because it's got plastic or cardboard all around.
I was like, Lord Jesus. So it's like, okay. But I guess they eat or whatever. And then she mentioned she wants to do this TikTok. I don't know if it's a challenge. I don't know what's going on.
Well, she says she likes to make up dances with people that she enjoys spending time with, or something to that effect.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So they do this dance.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, he's participating. So, and it's good to get out of your shell, right? But at the same time, I don't know. For me, it seemed childish to me.
No, I'll take issue with what you said.
Oh, okay.
It was childish. It didn't seem childish. It was childish.
Well, there are adults that dance with their spouse, with their teenagers. Like, there's people that do TikTok challenges like that.
I'll give you that, but you see, there's an important part there. There were people that they're in a relationship with, right? If I'm just meeting you, and I was going to get to this, but I think part of my issue or concern with Kira is that she's fake flirty. She's comes off, yes, immature. She comes off very flirty, but almost forced. It's like I don't get any real sense from her, right?
And I think Herbert kind of mentioned that in his date with her.
And Janelle later on said, you can't stay in character. So we'll talk about that conversation because there's more to that. So I'm not really a big fan of Kira as far as what we've seen portrayed. She could be an awesome, wonderful person in person. Absolutely. But from what I'm seeing, All right. So, yeah, they do this TikTok dance. Cool. All right. Anyway, moving on. Janelle and Quentin meet up. And she asks if she's like, one of her doubts with him is the age difference. He's like, age ain't nothing but a number. I ain't worried about your age difference. He's like, he's ready to move forward. He's like, we gonna have sex. She's like, what?
Oh,
She's
really?
like, really? He's like, yeah, that's gonna happen.
I think she was more trying to portray to him about the timeline because she does want to have kids.
Yes.
And then he was like, which is a good follow-up question. He asked her, are you open to adoption?
Did he ask or did she ask?
No, he asked.
Okay.
Because she said yes, because I was adopted.
That's right. Yes.
And he was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that, So she was sharing about her personally being adopted as well. So I think those are good things to talk about if you're really feeling serious about someone.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want nobody who say, well, I want to be engaged for 2 years because, I got to get my checking account and my savings account to match up, all those different things.
Right.
So those are great questions to ask when you're really feeling somebody and deciding on that.
Absolutely. So that was pretty much it for their date. He said he's done the work, he's ready. So he's like, listen, if and we hear from Janelle a little later on in, I think, the preview that she's intending to be engaged by the end of the year. Is her goal, right? And Quentin right now seems like he's like, if that's where we're going, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Kira meets up with Marie because she needs clarity on the Black culture feedback.
And also what her doubts are.
Her doubts.
Right.
So they meet up at like ice cream shop or something like that.
Cool concept.
And he's like, look, I just need, he's like, I understand you had a little concern. He's like, I may have misjudged you. She's like, yeah, you misjudged me. And so now I'm questioning your character.
Yeah, that's a little too far. Just because, he wanted clarity on that because as he's indicated, he's a big activist in the Black community. And he wanted to make sure that anyone he's with is comfortable in that space and holding their own, I guess, in a sense. And he was like, he was saying he apologized. He didn't want to prejudge her. But based off of, I'm assuming some of the things she said, because even in the ladies' lounge, again, things are being brought up about what she said that we just can't see concerning Black culture.
Right. Because, when he gave the feedback last week, last week, it was, I got cousins. I got Black cousins. I got this. So it was almost, it was like the Karen who's like, I got Black friends. That's kind of the vibe that she was giving, right? Where it was like, I'm into Black culture because I got Black family, right? And it's obvious you're Black, right? Now, it could have been a situation, yes, where she may have been adopted by a white family. We don't know. No. I don't think that's not what we find out now. But I'm saying last week, that could have been something that like, okay, that at least may help to explain some things, right? But she's now, again, it's like, well, I got cousins, I got brothers, so if I got a issue with Black people, then I got an issue with my family. But the things that she says give us pause to say, well, maybe you do have somewhat of an issue, because as in the ladies' lounge, we can talk about it now, but in the ladies' lounge, Janelle is like, you're the one who said, I'm the closest thing to a white woman here. And she's like, I don't know what flex you think that is, but that isn't a flex. And then Jessica brings up the fact that she said, I'm okay with black, but that's too black. So hear me. Understand, we recognize that we as black people, we're not a monolith, right?
Not at all.
And we recognize that there's some parts of our community that's like, I don't necessarily rock with that. But when you come from a perspective of looking down or distancing yourself, like, no, I'm not them, then it becomes, and you make statements about being closer to white, it then comes off as if you have an issue with your own background, if you will, right? And so for Maurier to be calling that out and bringing that up is not just his feedback, but it is feedback from several people that are in this process.
And I think these are the things, as you're digging into Black culture or us as Black people, that we have discussions about, right? There's an array of us in our own culture that we either like or don't like. And I think in America, it makes it different than if you're living in Africa. You'd be like, well, it's just our people. You know what I'm saying? Because some people do things that you don't appreciate.
Because she's the one that had to come onto her Instagram and bring up the fact that she needed to try and bring clarity to her statements, right?
Right. And she wanted to, right? Because you don't want to be, well, there's two things involved in that. You're being singled out because you're saying things that you normally say and you don't never have any pushback. And now you're in the media's presence, people are watching you, and you're realizing that those things are coming across that you never had anybody maybe give you any feedback for. So she did make her statement about clarity of what she was trying to say.
Okay.
Why are you taking it personal? It's like,
I'm not taking it personal. I'm just saying.
I mean, because
we don't believe you. You need more people.
Well, I believe her in her own perspective. In her own world, okay. That's how she feels, because I don't even want us to think like this is the first person that's of Black descent, like this, like, oh wow, this is the first thing that comes out there. We've known people who do act like this.
But if that's who you are, own that.
Oh yeah, own that.
Okay, and don't attack someone's character for pointing it out.
Right. Right.
And say that they don't. You're concerned about the character,
or they feel a certain way just because they decide. Well, because of what you're saying, not because of just you. Because I think anytime you're starting to, when you speak and you naturally speaking about what you're feeling, that's what people have to go off of.
Absolutely.
And then you taking the time and get the perspective of what is my issue.
Yeah.
Right?
So needless to say, Mario's like, that's not a connection for me.
Yeah. He was like,
no.
After her statement, he was like, never mind.
It's like, no sense in arguing about it. No sense in continuing on. This ain't it. Marvin goes on a date with Lee. And she's like, I just want to make it clear. His stuff, his interest don't pique her interest. She's like, I don't know why we're on this date again, but there's things that you are into that she's not into.
And I think he was like, I just wanted some clarity because she isn't reaching out to me. So he's like, I'm just trying to see, are you feeling me or not? And sometimes you need to just go ahead and ask it and get it out of the way.
There were some moments where there were some awkward silences between there.
Yeah. It was just like, she was not interested. She was just giving effort because probably, like you said, they told her that she has to go on this date with him, and it was just nothing there. And you can't, and that's the thing. The producers wants to make this storyline, right? And I'm like, if you make it organic and about people really trying to find love, then this would be a lot better than you keep trying to force issues that's already been talked about
and done with.
And done with.
Because she, again, for the 159th time,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sure the producers prompted her to, she brings up again about his lifestyle and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he's all about compromise.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it gives credence to what the ladies are saying, that he will just say what he needs to say to get the hear, so that they hear what he thinks they want to hear.
Right.
So
and is it more so they can hear so he can stay on the show? But my thing is, what do you get out of staying in the show?
Another week of a stipend.
They said it ain't nothing.
Exactly. So I didn't say it was like a whole nother full-on paycheck. I said another week of a stipend. They got Starbucks money for the week.
Yeah, I don't get it. But anyway, I would love to hear his background story on how he got on Ready to Love.
Yeah, whether it was he reached out or whether they recruited.
Yeah, or if it was a referral. You know how sometimes you find out you got friends.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So all the ladies meet up with Tommy. Mm-hmm. And the ladies, there's no one that's like, we've seen kind of who everybody so far is feeling of what they've said, right? Mm-hmm. So we saw Aries with her date, and so we know that she's feeling Philip, but also has a little thing maybe with Chris, right? But getting to the people that they're not feeling, Sierra started off with Chris, Defer, right? Yes, Christopher. And Aries kind of agrees, and then Jessica did her impression of him.
She did a good job.
She did a good job. Kudos to you, Jessica, for doing that impression. It sounded like him. You close your eyes. Yeah, that's Christopher. Marvin, of course, his name comes up.
Yes.
And Jessica gives some insight as to a conversation that she had with Marvin.
Yes.
So she says that Marvin told her that he's a stag, which didn't know what that meant. But basically, according to what Jessica said, his enjoyment comes from watching his person with other people. And so that's why a lot of the ladies are like, yeah, nah. She's like, some of the ladies, because they've said they don't like sharing, but it also is basically like you don't want to be shared.
Right. This is what I'm saying. And who are you being shared with? That's another open conversation too, right? Yeah, if you're not into that either. So again, you are out there by yourself on a boat that no one wants to share with you.
Right. You're on Gilligan's Island by yourself.
Okay. So to me, I'm like, who told you to come on the show? Is it to bring some type of different spice? You know, because this seemed like a different show he should have been on.
Yeah, they might be on Ready to Love and Love and Love and Love.
And Love and Love and Love.
Ready to Love X3, whatever.
Okay. So, yeah, everybody was like, what?
Yeah.
Even Tommy was like, what?
If Tommy had a drink, he'd have done a spit take.
Right.
And then Kira brings up that she's not feeling Maurier, right? Says that he has too much on his plate. Jessica's like, well, he goes after what he wants, so it sounds like he just don't want you on his plate. Because he says you make time for what you want. Janelle also defends and jumps in. It's like, no, you're not gonna run Maurier down like that.
Well, because then she starts to mispronounce his name.
Yes.
And she was like, well, we're not gonna be doing that because she says in her cameo that Janelle was trying to make her seem ignorant.
You didn't need Janelle for that.
But what it sounded like was Janelle thought she was intelligent enough that you said his name correctly before, and you could have said his name correctly now, but you choose not to. So to me, it was saying, look, you bright enough to know, first of all, how to pronounce his name.
Yes.
And you bright enough to know what you're doing. Don't try to be throwing shade.
Yes.
Because Janelle was like, I'm not going to let you just throw shade. And again, here you are talking about another black man where you mentioned race and what you thought he had a preference for. So she's pretty much telling her, like, you're being hypocritical.
Mm-hmm.
You're upset with Marie, right?
Yes.
For questioning what you're into or how you're acting concerning race, and then you turn around and completely assume what someone's preference was.
Right.
So she was pretty much just calling her out on that. But then she goes into, and this is where Tommy stopped him, because we do need to be respectful.
True.
Because she tries to go in like, I don't like you anyway. And we knew that from when they had that axe throwing or whatever they were doing then.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell she didn't care for her then.
Yes.
Which is fine, right? If you don't care for somebody,
everybody don't get along.
You don't get along. But I think also you do need to stay professional.
Mm-hmm.
You do need to show like, I don't care for you, but again, I'm classy.
Right, because the whole, I don't remember his name, is really a way to try and minimize him and diminish him. Yes. Mm-hmm. So kudos to Janelle for basically saying, no, you're not going to diminish this man just because he called you out. Right. And so again, y'all know we don't really get too much into the Instagrams, but I do have to point out, Janelle be throwing. She is letting y'all know what's happening behind.
Ain't no shade on them trade.
So she said a few points. This is what she put on the Friday before the latest episode. She said a few points to ponder for tonight's episode. Black people who deny their blackness, all while having the most stereotypical ethnic names, get under my perfectly hydrated skin. She talking about your girl Kira, because that's not her name. It's a shortened version of her name, and Janelle has already brought up that you got one of the most stereotypical black names. Then she says, I'm glad people are getting their cardio in from all the reaching they're doing. And then she says, let's stop calling women mean girls who see through your BS, see how you move, and want nothing to do with you. It's childish, which again goes to my point before when you said the dance seemed a little childish. No, it was childish. Yeah, she just, I'm sorry, Kira just comes off a little different to me. So that was that as far as the ladies' lounge, right? Well, then it is. Tommy's like, okay, I got another curveball for y'all.
Yes,
we're gonna cut. The budget's been cut this year, so we're gonna go ahead and get rid of 2 guys at one time because you're not feeling them anyway.
Correct.
So 2 guys are going home. Marvin meets with Kat. Kira meets with Christopher, and Marie meets with Lee. Long story short, Marvin met up with Kat. Again, the whole concern about his lifestyle. He's not ready to love. And didn't realize how short he was compared to her. Now, I don't know. She may have had heels on.
She probably did have heels on. But he was still, he was like 5'8", maybe.
Unless she had like 10-inch stilettos.
Because she's probably like running maybe 5'10". I might give her a strong 5'10" or 6 foot. So for him, I was like, okay, so you gotta be around that 5'8"-ish. And he might have on heels.
Okay, moving along.
I mean, like boots or something.
Okay.
Something with a heel on it.
Gotcha.
So
like Prince boots.
Hey.
Anyway.
Just say. You never say. If you can't be dominant one way, you decide to be dominant another way.
So Marie goes with Lee. Wow. And the feedback from Marie is that he's giving homie vibes, not friend zone vibes.
Right, because he was like, hold on, am I in friend zone? She's like, no, homie vibe. And I think, me personally, I always want to start in a friendship. I'm not trying to put you in a friend zone,
right.
But I got to be able to know no matter what, we're going to be able to hang.
And I think what they're saying, the feedback is not that I think it's more so along the lines of they got to see a relationship, a connection, a vibe with him. I don't think it's an issue of them being friendly or whatever. But it's like there's a difference. No, that's just the homie, right? He cool, he funny and all, but we don't see a relationship with him, and that's the kind of feedback that they were giving him.
You give me Reverend vibes.
He said Reverend Doctor. Well, from the clips for next week, it don't look like he anything trying to be a reverend in any way, shape.
No, it doesn't. But I'm just saying.
So, and then Kira goes on her thing with Chris, and she takes it upon herself to be like, "We haven't talked about doubts. Here's my doubts about you."
But she said they had a good connection. He said that he had a good connection with her as well. That's I'm just going with what he said. He said.
But the knock against Christopher has been that he is very smooth with his words. Right?
And then he's giving out his resume.
Yes.
He's like, how else you supposed to get to know me? I was like, I hear you, bro. What else?
They were like, look, we don't need to know you were trying to be a chiropractor while you were on the fashion runway doing New York Fashion Week and roping cowboys.
Right,
and
roping cowboys.
Doing security for
doing security.
Tupac or whatever. So.
You got a lot going on, bro.
So, needless to say, Christopher is also gone.
Yes. And that's when he got a little snarky himself. You know, talking about buying burger. He's still on the burger.
He's still on him.
Oh, my God. He's still on the bags. Like,
you
bro.
Be walking down Dallas Galleria talking about looking at Birkin bags like, nope. Mm-mm.
Oh, my God.
So, that's it for this one. Next week, it's the lady or the guys are in control, so the lady's going home. Who do you think is going home next week?
Ooh, I'm thinking Kira is going home next week.
I think she's overdue.
Because people who were interested threw her at the bottom of the list quick, and I it's just you rapidly just turn people off. It was like, oh, it's over. Nope. And so I just feel strongly she does not have a lot of connections at all. I can't see nobody else that she's connected to.
Because I think when Herbert looks at her versus Janelle, he's going to go with Janelle.
Yeah. Right? Until Janelle made that statement in that clip, he was like, whoa.
Right. We ain't talking about that. She doesn't have a connection with Maurier. She doesn't have a connection with Chris, the developer. Philip is too grown man for her.
Yeah.
Who else is there?
And then there was Quentin.
Yeah.
And he was like bottom of the list.
Quentin like, no, I don't like white women, even the black ones. Even the ones that think that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's everybody.
So
you think there's going to be two people going home? Wouldn't that even it up?
That would even it out. But I think the only other person that there may be less connections for than originally was Lee. Because Quentin seems to be more on the Janelle train than he is on Lee.
Well, right? At least when he's with Janelle, he is.
True.
We don't know.
Jessica's holding her own with Quentin not Quentin, but Chris and Maurier.
I want to see if Quentin and what's her face? The young lady came on with her Cat at the same time. If there's something there, she hasn't mentioned him, but he hasn't mentioned her either.
Right.
So
the other one that there might be, because I'm just thinking, who is Sierra connecting with?
That's a good. Maurier was a connection for her.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
No, it was somebody else that she had.
Oh, wasn't it? It
was Herbert.
Herbert.
Yeah,
it was Herbert.
So it's possible, but yeah, I think of who's still there. I think that Kira is probably the next on the chopping block. So let us know your thoughts. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.